Honorable President, Chairman Railway Board, dignitaries from Railway Board and Irrison, my colleagues, a very good afternoon to you all. I request Shri Arunain Kumar, Chairman Railway Board, to deliver the welcome speech.
Honorable President, Sir, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, officers from Railway Board, Director and faculty from Indian Railway Institute of Civil Engineering, probationary officers of Indian Railway Service of Engineers 2011 batch. It's a matter of great privilege for all of us that at the beginning of their career, 68 IRSC probationers, including 5 lady officers, have been given this opportunity to meet Honorable President of India. I take pride in introducing this highly motivated group of brilliant officer trainees who are set for a career with Indian Railways. The present group of IRSC probationers hail from 12 states. 18 of them are postgraduate in different disciplines of civil engineering. Their training gets completed in June 14, 3 months from now, when they will be ready to face the challenges of active service. Sir, during the initial 78 weeks of training, these officer trainees have been provided inputs on Indian Railways, how we perform, its vision and mission, its structure, their position in the organization, role and responsibilities, and are also exposed to management concepts in some of the premier management institutes within India and practical work in the field. Sir, Indian Railways track, bridges and other fixed assets constitute about 45% of total assets. The responsibility of maintaining these assets lies on the shoulder of these young IRSC officers now. There have been many symbols of progress where IRSC officers have shown their leadership, intellect, devotion and hard work in arduous conditions in the field. To quote a few landmarks, sir, the unigauge policy adopted by Indian Railways, thousands of kilometers of meter gauge and narrow gauge tracks were converted to broad gauge. The National Project of Kashmir has witnessed a major landmark recently when a 11.2 kilometer long tunnel from Banihal to Kazikund, an all-weather tunnel, was commissioned. And Arunachal Pradesh and Meghalaya are now on the Indian Railway map, sir. A second bridge, Bogil Bridge across river Brahmaputra in Assam, has been successfully constructed. And now Indian Railways is knocking the frontiers of Manipur. Sir, today is a red letter day in the life of these probationers, and today's interaction with Honorable President of India will not only galvanize them but also propel them to achieve greater heights in executing their roles as public servants. Sir, Indian Railways comprise of 9 Group A services. Some times back, you had given your valuable time for addressing and meeting officer trainees of 3 services. On behalf of Ministry of Railways, I would like to express my sincere gratitude once again for this kind gesture of sparing your most valuable time to motivate these young probationary officers of IRSC service. Thank you, sir, and Jai Hind.
On behalf of whole batch, I request my colleagues Shri B.K. Sajja and thereafter Shri Pankaj Yadav to share the training experience.
Honorable President of India Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Chairman Railway Board Shri Arunendra Kumar, Director of Irrison Shri Vishwesh Chobe, and other officials of Rashtrapati Bhavan and Railway Board, faculty members, my dear friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. Sir, it is indeed a privilege and an honor to meet you and get your audience at this place, historic and amazing place. It's like a dream come true for all of us. I thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time to guide, address and inspire us. Sir, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to get an audience with you. Sir, on behalf of the 2011 batch of Indian Railway Service of Engineers, I am honored to give a brief glimpse of training and share some of our experiences thus far. It is on 10th of December 2012 that we are formally inducted into this great service at Irrison, Pune. The day has individually and collectively changed our lives forever. The journey of every railway officer starts with a foundation program at National Academy of Indian Railways, Vadodara. There, we learned the complex working system of Indian Railways through topics like train operations and safety, finance, law, and personnel management. Indian Railways as an organization is quite unique and demands specialized technical expertise, for which training at IRISEN has prepared the groundwork in a very structured way. There, we were introduced to technical subjects like rail technology, mechanized track maintenance, works and contract management, and passenger amenities. Workshops on organizational behavior, conflict management, and leadership skills were also conducted so that we can lead the huge manpower of Indian Railways with great confidence. Work of civil engineer often demands continuous presence at work site for days together without food or shelter. The sports facilities at our institute helped us to realize the importance of physical health and get prepared to meet such unforeseen challenges which require high levels of physical and mental endurance. Initially, we found time to be a real constraint, and then, sir, we realized we could push ourselves to do so much more with so little of it. On behalf of all my batchmates, I assure you, sir, we will give our best with both personal and professional integrity to fulfill the aspirations of the people of India. I thank you, sir, once again.
During our field training, we have traveled throughout the length and breadth of the country, which made us realize the unifying role which Indian Railways is playing, also the tremendous commitment and determination of railway man that lies behind the scenes. We railway engineers define ourselves by our capability to create in several national projects that we got an opportunity to see in the first hand. We bore witness to the creation of world's tallest bridge on Chenab, Pir Panjal Tunnel in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. We saw the successful efforts of railway engineers to tame the mighty Brahmaputra for connecting the Arunachal Pradesh with the rest of our nation at the Bogibeel Bridge in Assam for the fourth time. As railway engineers, we interacted with the local people at these places and we found the happiness in their faces, and so this gave us immense satisfaction. We felt driven to be part of something larger than ourselves. We also got to know the different expectation of public through our interaction during our field training. This made us realize the gap we have to fulfill in the coming years. From the push trolley on the track to footplate inspections by locomotives, from walking on the bridge to monsoon patrolling, it seems quite exciting, but then when you do it, you realize that you have got the responsibility of lives of numerous passengers on your shoulders. This feeling of highest responsibility entrusted to us by the public inspires us to work day and night without failing. So we take pride in belonging to a fraternity which explores in the unknown and brings it within our reach. We feel inspired to serve the nation to best of our capabilities, to strive higher, to seek further, to stretch our limits, and to take Indian Railways to the new heights. Thank you, sir, once again.
Good afternoon. Sri Arunendra Kumar, Chairman Railway Board, Sri V.K. Jain, Additional Member Railway Board, officers of the Railway Board, Sri Vishwesh Chobe, Director Indian Railway Institute of Civil Engineers, officer trainees of Indian Railway Service of Engineers, faculty members, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I would like to welcome you to this historic building, Rashtrapati Bhavan. I am describing it as historic building because it has not only created history within its domain, under the majestic domes, magnificent columns of Darbar Hall and other state rooms, but it has also witnessed the momentous changes in the history of contemporary India and also of the world. When it was constructed and first occupied by the British Governor General Lord Irwin in 1931, the British power was at its zenith. Literally, rule Britannia rule the waves was truly transformed after the defeat of Allied forces, Axis powers in the First World War, and even an important Allied power, France, was made completely ruined. British maritime supremacy controlled the maritime trade of the world and protected its largest colonies in the world. But queer turn of history, just within 16 years of that proud moment, they had to leave this country. They could not enjoy the magnificence of their own creation. It was not created by us, it was created by them, from architect, except the contractors of course, designer, planner, everyone was non-Indian, including the first 6 occupants of this building, starting from Lord Darwin. It has witnessed the transfer of power in the Darbar Hall. It has listened to the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's clarion call on 14th-15th August midnight, when the whole world is in slumber. A new nation awakens, and that new nation is to observe, is to perform its tryst with destiny. Surely, you have read all these facts. I am simply reminding you of being associated with this building. Next, I would like to congratulate you for your success in this very difficult and really hard competitive examination of the recruitment of civil engineers in the railway service, along with their 9 combined examinees. The civil engineers are to play a very major role, not only in maintaining and upgrading, but taking it to new height of one of the world's largest railway network, with 46,000 route kilometers, 1,15,000 track kilometers, every day running 19,000 trains, 12,000 carrying passengers, 7,000 carrying freights, is one of the largest railway network in the world. Your job will be to not only maintain the infrastructure, but to improve it, but to take it to new height. Just now, Chairman Railway Board has presented me a building which is totally environment free, where the use of electricity has been reduced drastically without compromising the utility, highest utility of the building, as it was a challenge in your long service careers. From now onwards, you will have to face many more serious challenges. Track, maintaining track, gauge conversion, construction of the new tracks, upkeeping and maintaining of the existing assets, and railway is one organization which has from the barracks for the railway gangman to the officers' quarters and all other facilities. Indian Railway over 100 years has built up unique infrastructural facilities for its users and for the service providers. You are one of the top service providers to the Indian people through its great institution of Indian Railways. A very few organizations and institutions could be described as truly all-Indian, pan-Indian, like Indian Post Office. Indian Railway is one such. Every day, millions of passengers speaking in different languages, having different type of foods, having different dresses, believing in diverse religious beliefs, share one common vehicle for transportation, one common transportation system, and loses their individual identities and assume one identity, passenger of Indian Railway. I do not know which other institution can claim to be such a great integrator and unifier of this great country. My young friends, at the beginning of your career, I would also like to congratulate you, as I understand from the papers which have been given to me, that you had to undertake a rigorous training of 78 weeks. Surely this training has converted, as the Britishers used to say, that their civil service was the steel frame of the empire. We don't have any empire, neither we do have any ambition to have any empire, but surely we will be proud to have the topmost infrastructural facilities available to our people, and you are the steel frame of providing that services to 1 billion people. I congratulate Indian Railways for entering into one of the most prestigious exclusive club of the world, of having the distinction of carrying 1 billion plus freights annually. Only 3 other countries, if I understand correctly, have these capabilities: China, USA, and Russia. We are the 4th member of that exclusive club of the world. But my advice as an old man who spent more than 4 decades of his life in the public service, in the limited humble capacity, wherever I was, that you have deliberately chosen as your career to serve the people by joining this unique public service. A qualified person like you might have obtained more comfortable job, having better perks. Nowadays opportunities and avenues are very wide. But your decision to join public service itself speaks of your commitment, and please maintain that commitment. Please afford the spirit of service, that I am not merely earning my livelihood, enjoying my park, I am serving the people. This attitudinal change is absolutely necessary to build up a new nation out of the oldest civilization of the world. We truly take pride in ourselves of being the cradle of the oldest civilization, surviving civilization of the world, more than 5,000 years old. But at the same time, we are a new nation. 1895, when almost your services also began, if I understand correctly, around 1890. An eminent Bengali, Surendranath Banerjee, first conceptualized the concept of Indian nationalism by describing in his Congress presidential address at Pune a nation in the making. And still that process is on. We are the youngest nation, but oldest civilization. And those who are contributing to build up this nation, you have joined the band of those dedicated persons whom we call public servants. As I was mentioning to you, the same job, the same thing, the same trade, same practice can be looked at from different angularity. When I was a student, I got a very beautiful lesson from my teacher, school teacher, at a very young age. He told me a story to teach me something, that a passerby is passing through a road, and he found that some people are breaking the stones. So he asked the first person who was breaking a stone, that what are you doing? He said, can't you see? I am breaking the stone. Then he asked the second man, what are you doing? He is also breaking this stone. But his reply was more suggestive, that I am earning my livelihood, earning my wages by breaking this stone. And when the third man was asked, he replied, I am paving the way for people. And my teacher advised me, have that attitude. Yes, earning livelihood is important. Describing a thing as a matter of fact is important. But along with that, vision is important. You must have that vision. You must have that attitudinal approach, that I am one of those very few who have got the opportunity to serve 1 billion plus people through Indian railway services. Young officers, I wish you all success in your career. And before I conclude, I'd like to advise you through great words of wisdom from our father of nations, Mahatma Gandhi, who said, service, I quote, service that is rendered without joy helps neither the servant nor the served. But for all other pleasures, as possessions pale into nothingness before service, which is rendered in a spirit of joy. Always render services, not to your boss, not to anybody, but to the people of India, 1 billion plus, with spirit of joy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.
It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks for today's engagement. At the outset, I, on behalf of Ministry of Railways, express profound gratitude to the Honorable President for sparing his valuable time to meet the probationers of Indian Railway Service of Engineers and address them. Sir, we deeply value your advice and assure you of our abiding commitment to the objectives of this illustrious service. We also resolve to fulfill them with all sincerity and dedication. I would be failing in my duty if I do not convey my thanks to all the officials of this Secretariat for their cooperation and assistance in organizing this visit. I also thank Chairman Railway Board and officers of Railway Board and IRISEN for their unassisted support. Thank you. Jai Hind.